Dear students, in this video, we are going to discuss the last section of our chapter, lesson number 3, Civics. What is government? Up till now, we have studied about the basic meaning of the term government. Then we had discussed the three different organs of government, that is legislature, executive and judiciary. I am sure you are well aware of their functions. Then we had discussed the levels of government, which includes the government at the national level, the government at the state level and the government at the local level for both urban and rural areas. In this chapter, in this section, we are going to discuss about the last topic, and that is types of government. Now, let me make a little change into how it is printed in your books. You have been discussed what is democracy first. But let us begin with monarchy. Then we will discuss authoritarian government, and at last we are going to discuss democracy. So kindly keep a book in your hand. We are discussing from page number 113 onwards types of government. In a country where the citizens, the kind of economic activities which are followed and other political situations are not the same. It is not the same for various countries of the world. Therefore, one similar type of government cannot run in all the countries. This gives us the concept of today's topic, that is, we have different types of governments. Let us discuss each one of them in detail. The first one that we are going to discuss is monarchy. Yes, monarchy form of government. As the name suggests, the word monarch itself means a king or a queen. So monarchy is that form of government where there is either a king or a queen in a country. The king or queen is the hereditary king or queen of the country, means when the king or the queen dies, their family member, their sons and daughters take up their position. So monarchy form is that form of government which has a king or a queen as the ruler. When the king or queen dies, their son, daughter or other members of the family can become the next king or queen. In the monarchy form of government, the king or queen does not have a large number of ministers to assist them, but there is a small council of ministers which guide them on various important issues of the country. Let me mention this here only. The king or the queen is the final person to decide about what is going to happen in the country. Unlike our country, the monarchy form of government does not have the different organs, and they do not perform different activities as the government. Rather, the king or queen decides upon the legislature activities also, the executive activities also, and the judiciary activities also. For example, countries like United Arab Emirates, that is UAE, and Saudi Arabia have a queen or a king as their ruler. Means the king or queen of these countries will be the whole soul in charge of the whole country, and only the king or queen can decide what is going to happen in the country. Let us now talk about the next type of government, that is the authoritarian government, which is also called the dictatorship government. Authoritarian or dictatorship government. As the name suggests, somebody who has the authority is the authoritarian, or somebody who is a dictator who gives out his rules and regulations forcefully. People have to follow it. So in an authoritarian government, there is one particular individual who is the only ruler of that country. There are symbolic elections which are held, and not many people of the country are allowed to participate in these symbolic elections. Now, what is the difference between monarchy and authoritarian or dictatorship government? A monarch is usually a king or queen of the country, but the authoritarian or the dictator is not necessarily the king or queen. Rather, he is the self declared ruler or leader of that country. We have had many authoritarians or dictators in history, such as Adolf Hitler, who was a person who was a dictator of Germany. There was Mussolini, who was the dictator in the country Italy. There was Muammar Gaddafi, who was the dictator at Libya. There was Hosni Mubarak, who was the dictator of Egypt, and Saddam Hussein, who was the dictator at Iraq. Now, for the authoritarian government, the people who are the in charge or who are the dictators in a dictatorship government have monopolistic powers. What do you mean by the term monopolistic powers? Means all the powers to make decisions in a country lie in the hand of a dictator or the authoritarian. People usually do not like the authoritarian or dictator more because he or she is considered very cruel. Most of the times, the authoritarian leader or the dictator is usually cruel and he or she is not bothered about the welfare of the country people. And that is why the dictators are not liked much by the people as the world history says. So authoritarian or dictatorship government is the next type of government that we had in the list. Now let us talk about the most important type of government which is followed by most of the countries of the world nowadays. And that type of government is democracy. Yes, including your country India, most of the countries of the world have democratic form of government. There can be two types of democracy: direct democracy and representative democracy. Before we go into detail into this, let us talk about the term democracy. The word democracy is derived from a Greek word demos, kratos, where the word demos means people and kratos means rule. Therefore, the term democracy becomes rule of the people. There can be two types of democracy. In the direct democracy, we vote for the leader who is going to be our leader directly. In the representative democracy form of government, we choose a representative. In turn, he or she selects a leader for us. India follows the representative type of government. The main feature of a democracy is that the people have the right to elect their representative through the process of voting. Yes, as in India, we see that there are elections which are held after every 5 years to select the representative government for the center and for various states. So under the representative type of democracy, which is also the ruling pattern of India, we, the people of the country, all of us who are above 18 years of age, means if we are an adult, if we are above 18 years of age, we can vote and select our representative. It is our choice whom we want to select, and then the person whom we have selected decides the leader for us. This is the process of representative democracy. In the coming chapters, you are going to discuss this in detail, how the process of representative democracy happens. Let us discuss the most common and prevalent definition of the word democracy. Abraham Lincoln, who was the American president during the year 1861 to 65. He coined the definition for democracy, where he stated that democracy is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. In all, democracy is the government which is of the people, It is by the people. Now, of the people means it is for the people of the country for whom they are selected. It is by the people means the person who is the leader of the country in democracy is elected by the people of the country through the process of voting, like we have discussed, and it is for the people of the country. It is considered that somebody who is selected under the process of representative democracy, the person who is elected is the representative of the people. The person or the leader is the representative of the public, and therefore he acts for the people of the country, and he or she does not act for his or her own personal benefit. So let me repeat. Abraham Lincoln, who was the former American president during the year 1861 to 1865, he coined the definition for democracy, where he stated that democracy is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. One very important section in democracy is the use of adult franchise or the right to vote. Now, it is very important that all the citizens of the country should be given a right to vote. Anybody, irrespective of their religion, gender, education, economic status, race, property, educational qualification, everybody in the country who is an adult and is of sound mind, means that the person should be of sane mind, should be having a right to vote. This is called the adult franchise or the right to vote. Initially, during the British rule, even in India, all the people were not allowed to vote. But later on, the people like Gandhiji, Jawaharlal Nehru, and Vallabhbhai Patel considered this practice as not good, and therefore they decided that all the people of the country of free India should be entitled to vote. This ideology gave rights to all the citizens of India to vote. Vote to form a representative democracy in the country. Even in countries like United States of America, there was a movement called the suffrage movement, started in 1848. It demanded that women should also be given the right to vote, because earlier people in the country like New Zealand, USA, Australia, the women did not have right to vote. But later on, during the suffrage movement, USA, the United States of America, provided the women of its country right to vote. Even in countries like New Zealand, Australia, United Kingdoms, and later on in India also, all the citizens, men and women who are adults, should be considered having the right to vote under the universal adult franchise concept. In the Western countries, when the women were not allowed to vote, so particularly after the First World War, when usually the male members of the country died in the battle, the women of the families came out to work and to live in the society more freely. This encouraged the need in women to be a part of decision making, to be a part of voting. And this gave the revolution of universal suffrage movement to women of various countries, where the women also demanded when they can move out of the house and work, they can take various decisions of the society, why should they not participate in the formation of the government? This fight brought fruits, and the women of various countries were also allowed to vote. Now, there have been movements in various other countries also, where women and lower caste people also fought, and they became a part of the decision making process of the country. Nowadays, usually all the countries of the world, across the world, are using the democratic system, either the direct democracy or the representative democracy, where the citizens of the country who are adults according to the different ages which are assigned for the countrymen to be an adult. Like in India, it is 18 years and above. So all the citizens who are adult should be given the authority to vote. Vote and be a part of government making for their country. So let us recap what we have discussed today. We were talking about the types of government, where we have discussed the three different types of government. Monarchy form of government, where the king or queen is the ruler, and when the king or queen dies, their son, daughter, or some legal heir of the family becomes the other king or queen. The next type of government is the authoritarian or dictatorship government, where the ruler is not necessarily the king or queen, but he or she takes up all the important decisions and considers himself or herself as the ruler of that country. For example, some authoritarians or dictators were Adolf Hitler, Muammar Gaddafi, Hosni Mubarak, etc. Then comes the most important type of government, that is the democracy or the democratic form of government. Here, the ruler is elected by the people of a country through the process of voting. Yes, people come out to vote. Now, a democracy can be of two types. There can be direct democracy and there can be representative democracy. In India, we follow the representative form of democracy. The most important definition of democracy was given by Abraham Lincoln, the former president of America. He said, the government which is of the people, by the people, and for the people is the democratic government. Then let us talk about the adult franchise. The term adult franchise or universal adult franchise or universal suffrage, which are the synonyms to each other, means the right of every adult citizen of the country to vote and participate in the decision making of a democratic government. With this, we come to the end of the discussion of this topic. Hope you have understood. You can carry and use a book with you for better understanding. Thank you so much. Continue to follow the regular classes.